All right, let's talk some Saquon Barkley. This Giants offense is definitely relying on Saquon Barkley doing a lot of different things. So we're going to talk about what he means to the offense as a whole, not just the value he's bringing, but also, what value he brings by not even touching the ball on specific plays. First, we're going to talk about a play where he is touching the ball. In fact, he's taking the snap on this play, something that we've seen the Giants start to do, and it does make sense. I mean, this is something that can absolutely work. If you think about it, football did exist before the forward pass, right? There is a way to move the football this way. Obviously, we know the downside of having this happen, right? When Daniel Jones does not take the snap, there is no threat of a pass or no legitimate threat of a pass, but there always is a somewhat of a threat of a pass because listen, despite, they're NFL players, they're experts at, quarterbacks are experts at throwing, receivers are experts at catching, but if you get two people off the street, they can still throw and catch a football. So you have to pay at least some attention to the receivers in this situation, even if it is Daniel Jones at wide receiver and Saquon Barkley at quarterback. So that's one aspect of this. But still, of course, that is a downside. But then there is the upside. And the upside of something like this is you get an extra blocker, right? Because you don't have to waste someone to just hand the ball off. You can instead send Daniel Jones out wide. A corner has to follow him. And now what you can do is you can have Saquon Barkley take the snap himself, run out, and what you see on the screen is the blocking concept. The halfback can now go up and block somebody. Look at how when this play begins, every Giant is going to make their block here, and Barkley's able to get up to that next level where now he just has a safety to beat that you see on the screen. I thought this situation was interesting too, where I paused it right here because you can see Adrian Amos, the very good safety for the Green Bay Packers, is all turned around. His hips are facing towards the top of the screen, so Barkley's running to the other side. He gets them all turned around. Again, this is where the Barkley value really comes into play. Watch him be able to pick up more yards, and I mean, if Stokes didn't get all the way over there, who knows? Maybe that's a touchdown. I mean, that's a great rush by Barkley, and Barkley can create explosive plays, especially when you have that extra blocker. The reality is, all you have to do is make your blocks, which is sometimes easier said than done, but if everyone makes their blocks, these types of big plays can happen. And also in the receiving game, Barkley can have an impact. And I don't just mean like as someone who's catching flat routes as a halfback, just taking check down routes and going. I mean, this is still kind of a check down route, but honestly, this play design is in part designed to get Barkley the ball in the receiving game. He's not a halfback on this play. He's a wide receiver. He is playing wide receiver here. You have the two eligible receivers lined up to Daniel Jones' left, going to be running deeper routes over the middle. That should help clear out that area for when Barkley kind of runs shallower underneath towards the offense's left. He can potentially get open, and since he's currently lined up to the offense's right, someone might not be able to pick him up as quickly. And look, as you see, when Jones takes a snap and looks in that direction, that worked out perfectly. You see how Barkley is about to get open. So good play design, right? That's definitely something where the Giants have been getting a lot of credit coaching, and I think they've deserved it. They're using kind of their offense to the best of its ability. They know Saquon Barkley is their best player, so they're trying to get the ball in his hands as much as possible. So Jones is going to hit Barkley, and Barkley's able to pick up a ton of yards just like that, just with scheme. Great stuff. You're getting a chunk play with Saquon Barkley right away. But this is, again, where Barkley's value comes in, where they're setting stuff up so that Barkley's already getting kind of explosive plays without having to do too much. But he's then also doing stuff above and beyond what the offense gets him. Watch him make a move in open space and just picks up, again, another ton of yards right there. That was really about a 20-yard difference, that one broken tackle. So that's a huge play. And again, when you're scheming him open and then he's making these types of plays, it's really difficult to stop. This stuff can be especially difficult in the red zone, in like a goal line situation. I don't know how you stop this. I certainly don't know how you stop this 4 times, which is what you would have to do, where you're going to have, or at least 3 times, you're going to have, again, Barkley is going to run the wildcat, and the wildcat has a place in the NFL, especially in the right situation, and for the Giants, it absolutely is the correct situation. You have Barkley going to take the snap, and again, because the halfback, who is not Barkley, who is in the player in the backfield, because he is there, he can run out and block. You now have an extra blocker. So as you see, Barkley takes the snap, and you notice there is really no unblocked player because Barkley was able to take the snap himself and run in. Otherwise, there would have been an unblocked player. That's just kind of how that works, and it makes it very difficult to stop. Now, How do you stop it? Well, I think one thing people might be saying is, listen, while this stuff is working, you have to make your blocks. And if someone doesn't make their block, that's where issues can happen. And that's absolutely true. Like, look at how right here on this one. So I'm going to highlight one play. Watch what happens. Look, you're going to see that right off the bat, it's a dangerous situation for the Giants, dangerous situation for Barkley, as, a Green Bay player is able to win their one-on-one matchup there, I would say. It's Turturell Slayton for Green Bay making the play, so good for him. But watch what Barkley is then going to be able to do. Watch Barkley just break the tackle, and he still picks up a decent gain. Again, 5 yards, nothing crazy, not a highlight reel level play, but this is, again, the value of Saquon Barkley. Turning a 0-yard gain into a 5-yard gain, there is a decent amount of value in that, and that can, especially for an offense that, isn't exactly explosive on the outside, being able to make it easier on second down, which can make it easier on third down. There's definitely a ton of value there, and, they maximize that value with Saquon Barkley. And finally, one more play. It's about to get blurry on the screen. Again, I don't know why this happens sometimes. Work with what I have, work with the footage I can get. But what's going to happen here, this is kind of a classic example of what the running game can set up. Because the Packers, they like to play, these two safety deep coverages. It's what they're doing here. Maybe they could have brought a safety down given who they're playing, but that's not what they like to do. So they're playing quarters coverage right here. And a play action with a receiver running over the middle is already a great concept, but especially given this situation. You already only have a limited amount of players who can come up and make a tackle because you are playing two safeties deep if you're Green Bay. So your linebackers are going to be extra prepared to try and stop the run, and with a play action, and it's Saquon Barkley, who is obviously awesome, that's just going to make things more difficult. Look at how when Jones takes the snap and runs this play action, look at how spread out these linebackers are. They really had no time to look around and see where they need to be, where the passing lane is, which receiver can we, pick up. All they really had to do was, okay, it's not a run. Now we just kind of have to get back and try to get into passing lanes as much as we can. But there's just a huge gap and huge throwing lanes here. Jones is able to make this throw, and they're able to pick up a pretty easy completion right there. So again, this is Saquon Barkley's value. Saquon Barkley did nothing on this play, but just the fact that he, was on the field was enough to really make things a lot easier for the offense. I say this with Derrick Henry a lot, where Derrick Henry, one of the most valuable things about him as a player is the name on the back of his jersey. It sets things up, and that's absolutely the case with Saquon Barkley as well. So as a whole, yeah, it's just really cool to see Saquon all the way back. It's just cool to see, someone who had all these injuries. I thought was done. I was willing to write him off. But it's cool to see him back. He's been electric for the Giants. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Saquon Barkley? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.